Sir, army of ponies marching over the horizon. They appear to be sitting somehow, yet still coming forward.
Oh, he wants a war, does he? No pony stands against the cutie mark analysts. First, I want to rule out some things that are actually wrong with your video, my dear Shadow Knight, or at least inaccurate, before moving on to the science. Tyrek can fly. In the episode, we never see him take off our land, nor do we see him travel any large distance of any kind, but I'd just like to show you this scene. After Twilight is thrown through the distant mountain, Tyrek follows soon after, plows through the mountain, and continues going at roughly the same speed. While this could be explained away via cartoon physics, and say he jumped, we're both men of science here, and such silly things as cartoons cannot cloud our judgment. As far as epigenetics goes, I must say that your example of Mare is one I cannot agree with, as it would mean that Earth ponies as a whole are weak. Ponies who have not seen war since the rise of King Sombra and live in a world that is entirely controlled by their very will, and Celestia made a point to say that it was their strength that allowed them to tend the land. Now, biology is something I will admit not knowing everything about, as I prefer physics, so if I'm misunderstanding, then I will concede the point. Now, as far as magic as an element, no. See, the thing with magic is this. It's energy. You cannot touch it, you cannot hold it, and you cannot dig deep enough and say, hey, I found a vein of magic. Magic is energy, like electricity or gravity. You can say that magic has no rules when that is the furthest possible thing from the truth. If magic had no rules, then why has Twilight needed to study it for years to reach her current level? Why does it backfire horribly when it's misused? Magic is a chaotic force of the universe, but it is one with inherent rules. Even the particular strain of magic Discord uses has them. All of the creatures that use magic have this pool of energy within them, but it is also part of the wider world, and how the magic is used is dependent on the race of pony that it resides within. You see, it all comes down to how the magic is channeled. Now, it's obvious there are multiple forms of magic, as Tyrek couldn't get flight from a unicorn or magic from a Pegasus, but they've also the visual indicators that denote each magical type. First off, we have unicorn magic, or vanilla magic. It takes on a color based on the channeler, is very pure and sparkly looking, and fairly boring. Then we have dark magic, or chocolate magic. It's always a solid color, sickly, and corrupts anything it touches. Finally, there's chaos magic, or birthday cake magic. I'm of the opinion that of these three, chaos is one of the purest forms of magic. It also has the most flexibility, and yet doesn't really have a specialization. It just mostly does what it do. Compare dark matter with gravity. You may be wondering where I'm going with this. Think like a lightning rod. It attracts lightning to it to either ground it or send it to a certain place. Unicorn horns and Pegasi wings work the exact same way. Unicorn horns channel a unicorn's magic from the unicorn's personal pool of magic to allow them to manipulate it. Meanwhile, the Pegasi's wings allow them to do a similar thing, only it's much more specialized, allowing them to manipulate air currents or perhaps gravity itself to lift themselves off the ground and control the weather. Which brings me to Earth ponies. As I mentioned before, Earth ponies do not have a focus for their magic, allowing it to manifest in a more general form. Surely several thousand years must have made them a little stronger naturally, but is this manifestation of magic that would explain their strength the most? This Earth magic is a magic that uses the host itself as a focus, allowing manifestation of the strength Earth ponies are known for. And as for Mare, she was in high school with Cadence and Shining Armor, who, may I add, are both a great deal older than Twilight is, not to mention the fact that we haven't actually seen her do anything physical. Tut, Mr. Knight, going off hypothesis alone isn't a good scientific practice. And don't think I'm forgetting your little jab at the elements of harmony either. This is what all the focus stuff I've been talking about has been leading up to. As we know, the magic of harmony is one of the most powerful forces in the universe, on par with chaos if not surpassing it. Now, as far as we know, that energy cannot be released without a catalyst, otherwise the necklaces would not have been needed in the first place. What they were, however, was a focus for the latent harmonic pool of energy in the main six to be channeled through. The Tree of Harmony appears to be either the source or at least the largest conduit of this flavor of magic. However, without the gems to act as foci for the magic, the tree was unable to use it to contain the Everfree, compared to sawing off a unicorn's horn or a Pegasus's wings. Now, I will admit we are a little bit in the dark here when it comes to this magic with rainbow power, as it doesn't seem to require a catalyst other than what was inside the box, but we're never specifically shown what it was, and it wore off as soon as the box turned into a castle. So until Season 5 comes along, I may be proven correct or wrong, depending on what they use to bring about this power, if they even ever do it again. As for magic not following the rules, I disagree. Age ties into entropy, the death of cells and all that business. Now, neglecting my theory that the Equestrian universe has already long entered the heat death of the universe and is using magic to simply keep itself alive, it is possible that magic is a force powerful enough to control or even completely ignore the forces of entropy. For example, we only need to look at Celestia and see that for some pony that must be at least 3,000 years old at the very minimum, she's looking pretty damn good. If Celestia isn't immortal, then she's pretty close to it, which means that her alicorn magic has caused her to stop aging. Unfortunately, since we can't actually measure magic as it only exists in fiction, we may never know, but most of the evidence points at being a force of the universe far more powerful than the more mundane ones. And this is the problem with arguing about magic in a cartoon. We can't actually measure it, so no matter how much science we throw at it, the fact that we're throwing in a variable that has rules that we aren't told the full extent of makes this incredibly hard. There's a reason I actually wrote a script for this time. But either way, the ball's in your court, Shadow Knight. Remember to like, comment, favorite, subscribe, and I'll see you around.